Hello and welcome to Star Wars Geek. I'm Zoe, and as usual, I'm here with Lizzie.
Hello.
We are going to be talking about some very exciting new Star Wars.
Star Wars.
We love Star
That we
Wars.
even saw in a theater. That was pretty cool.
We did very cool with lots of other people.
Yes. And then there was a guy that came out of the floor and started playing music.
Oh
That was
yeah,
pretty
that
cool.
that was that happened at the Andor red carpet too. And I was like,
Oh.
then I forgot about it because that was 2 years ago. And then it happened again, and I was like, oh yeah, that's the thing. And my friend that I brought, he was like, does this happen every time they do a movie here? And I was like, not every movie, but like every
Yeah.
event, I guess.
Yeah, no, I was like, I saw like the outline on the floor and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I saw like, I saw him rise and I was like, that is so strange.
Honestly, that's such a cool job. You just get to
Right?
rise out of the floor playing an organ, and then you go back into the floor when you're
I
done.
saw I was, like, looking because there was he just, like I could I can't. I have no good coordination with any parts of my body, so that was so cool because he was, like it was his feet too. It was, but, like, 2 different things, and then
Hmm.
it was pretty cool. Sorry, that's not Star Wars, but, like, props to him, that was very, very cool. So, yeah.
Yeah, so we saw it at the El Capitan, if you couldn't tell. Uh,
Yeah.
it was a little fan event. I actually lined up 5 hours early.
Uh-huh.
Was not the first in line though, so I don't feel too crazy.
Fair.
Um, and I brought Catalyst, the High Republic book, and I read that, and I talked to some cool fans that were in line in front of and behind me. Um, and yeah, I waited for 5 hours. We got in. It's a great time. Um, Not sure I needed to now, but you know what? I was off work. You know what else do you do with your day besides stand on
True.
Hollywood Boulevard for 5 hours?
I guess.
Know.
I got off of work around like 2:30 and I wanted to go with my dad. The problem is, my partner was at work till like 8 o'clock, and I was like, I don't know if I can make it. Um, and so I took an Uber. This is what happens when you don't know how to drive. And also, to be fair, even if I know how to drive, I didn't have the car. So, like, that would have also not worked out anyway. But so I had to Uber to my parents' house. Dad took me because I was like, I could like Uber like over here, like by the freeway, and you could pick me up. He was like, no, 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 we'll be late. That's like 5 minutes out of the way. And I was like, okay. So then I went, and then like the freaking show didn't even start for like 3 more hours.
Yeah, well, the real concern was with that because they said they
The
made like a deal
seats.
of like it's not well seats, but also like it's just not guaranteed that you get in because they
Yeah,
overbook. So that's why I got there 5 hours early because I was like I'm getting in. I don't even
yeah,
care.
fair. So we got
But
there.
then you guys still got in, so
Yes. And then we went to the like balcony area. That was pretty cool.
yeah, it was cool. Lots of peeps there. Um, I knew more people than I would have thought I did, to be honest.
No one knows what I look like anymore because I grew up. So it was like I was like kind of blessed, and I was also like, oh man, he doesn't like I can't wave to this guy.
You're like, who's this person? Who's this random
I've had
person?
times though, like this was before college, like when I was like looking like an actual child. People would come up to me and be like, "Liz, oh my god, where's your husband Sal?" I'm like, "What? What?
What?
I'm not. I do not
That's
look
scary.
grown. Please." Right? Silly people. Anyway, but yeah, it was pretty cool. I saw some people that I hadn't seen since I started college. So that was nice. But then it was also people that were like, "I knew you since you were 10." And I was like, "I'm sorry, I don't remember you." But but it was still cool. We saw Steel. Hung out. We literally sat down with Steel and watched it with him. Shout
Nice.
out to Steel Wars. And yeah, that was pretty cool.
yeah, it was really fun to see it in. You know, it's always fun to experience Star Wars, whether it's a movie or not, to experience it with other fans.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm really glad that they did that little screening event. It was really cool to be in an audience and everyone's just enjoying it. I was also like when I was in line, like there were people. I was standing in line with people, and like people in front of me like didn't know anything about the High Republic besides that it existed. And the person behind me was like huge High Republic fan, read all the books. So getting to like experience that breadth of
Yeah.
the fandom for Acolyte was super cool. And talking to everybody and like me and the woman behind me that were fans of the High Republic were like explaining stuff to the people in front of us and like
Yeah.
she was like she because I'm behind, she knew way more than me, so like she was doing, and I was learning from her too. um and it was just really cool to like get that, you know, got people dressed up and like people with like again the woman behind me had like with the Starlight Beacon like loungefly bag and stuff that was super cool, and like you know this it's very joyful. You know, I think sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the negativity online, and then you talk to like real people and go to real events where real people are, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
everyone's normal and happy and positive about things, and like,
Yeah.
you know what
Well,
I mean? Like
typically when
everyone's
you go, when you're like actually at the place, you don't want to look mean too. So there's that.
yeah,
But it's nice. It's still nice.
yeah, and it's like people are, you know, and it's like even like you know, and it's not that like everyone's like has to be positive too, but people are like, you know, if someone in real life, typically, not always, but they don't like something at one of these events, they'll like, oh yeah, I'll play. You're like, oh yeah, I wasn't a fan of that, and then move on,
Yeah.
which is great. Love that. Love being normal.
Typically.
Typically, you know, I would say at an event usually,
Yeah.
but like in real life, but like it's you know, it's a good reminder of like the world isn't the little degenerates and hiding in basements complaining about women. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Because they're not getting out of that basement.
Exactly. So like it's like oh like the normal people with like jobs and friends like they're fine.
Yeah. They are acting good.
they're, they're acting reasonably. It's great. Um, yeah, it was super cool, and um I know they won't do a screening for like every episode, but like if we want to do another one for the finale, you know,
That would be
wouldn't
cool.
be a bad idea. Or like Ahsoka did one for the mid season too. Do one of those. Hey, I'm around. Um. Anyway, we'll talk about the actual show. I guess. What are your spoiler-free thoughts for the first episodes of The Acolyte?
Spoiler free, I thought they were really good. Again, I wasn't as excited for this show because I know they wouldn't have, but I was worried that there was going to be a lot that I just didn't understand any of the books. I
Mm-hmm.
okay, it's a lie. I picked up one of them, and I don't remember which one it was, but it had very pretty lady on the front that looked like an engineer, and I opened it, and because it was the only one that looked interesting, and my dad
Is
was like,
it?
"This one's the least amount about Jedi," and I was like, "Cool, I want that one." So I did that one. I opened it, and I like to like look up characters to see what they look like, so that way I can like reenact it in my head. And I looked at the first character and I was like, "Oh, this guy looks cool." And immediately like the first thing that came up was like his death in this book. And I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh."
it
Which is
feels like
like
that.
on me. I should have been faster, I guess, at clicking images, but I was like, "Oh, well." So then I was bummed out and then I just completely forgot about it. But it's on my shelf. So I'll probably pick it up. But anyway, so I just didn't know anything about it, but it was really good, and it wasn't too like it was serious, but it wasn't too serious, which was pretty cool. It still had a lot of like I don't think the word is symbolism, but like kind of like relations to real life stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's pretty cool. Like it was like serious, like Andor serious kind of, but then it was still silly. It was still a silly
Yeah.
little show. Um And like I think it's funny. I like hating a character so much I like them. So we'll get into that. um but yeah, I thought it was really spoiler free, I thought it was really good. And I think people should watch it, even if they might be worried like they might not understand it, you know?
Yes,
Boom.
yeah, I would agree. I would, yeah, this was, so for me, I was already excited about this, not just because of High Republic, but we got to see a trailer at Celebration London last year, and that was
Yeah.
my most anticipated show from that celebration, because I instantly, like, the choreography, the costumes, everything, I was like all in from that trailer. I was like, this is going to be an amazing show, and I'm so glad I was right.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, it's amazing. And like you said, there's a balance of humor, balance of some drama in there, and just overall, like, I love how they built the characters. Like, besides for one, every single character is original to this show, and that one character that is in books, like, she so far has played a relatively minor role, and the only books she's in take place 100 years before this show.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think you need necessarily to know all of her history, but knowing her history makes it very cool as well.
I
She's
mean,
also my
yeah,
favorite from the books. So
from what it seems like, all I need to know about this character is she's like the top. She's top dog.
yeah,
Like,
and then,
she's
and
kind of
again,
in
like,
charge.
she wasn't that at all in the books. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah.
what's happened in the years since. So it's
Uh,
like, you really don't gotta know,
yeah.
which is cool. And yeah, I think, and I do think this, for a lot of people, could be a great entry point into Star Wars. It's got, if someone is interested in that kind of like kung fu action, it's got that kind of samurai thing. It has a lot of that I think is really cool. And I love the choreography. The costumes are amazing. I love everyone's performances. The characters are great. And yeah, I really love this show already.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for the next episode.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Spoilers. Okay, so first, we don't have to like break down the whole episode because I'm sure people have seen it. But I really, first of all, was not expecting twins.
I was. I would. Well, I guess before. What do you mean, like before you were watching even the show, or?
Yeah, before the show at all.
Okay, then yeah, I was not expecting twins. I was
No, yeah,
actually
once it cuts over to May, or no, to Osha for the first time, I was like, oh, okay, it's twins. But like
yeah.
before the show, I know, yes, that was cool. And it was also like, said Celebration. Leslie Headland, when she was like introducing the show to everyone, she called it, she said Kill Bill meets Frozen.
Oh,
And everyone's really confused because they're like, okay, sure, Kill Bill. Frozen? But now I get it because it's
makes sense. Yeah,
sisters.
that's
I don't
fair.
know how much more Frozen we'll get. I guess we'll have to see. I guess you have the one sister that has, I don't know, but I'm really excited to see more. But now I'm like, oh, Frozen!
Yeah.
You got the sisters.
Sisters,
Love sisters in
sisterhood.
Star Wars, by the way.
Yeah,
Always a good day when you get more sisters in Star Wars.
May and Osha.
May and Osha.
Very cool. I didn't even think because I rewatched it and I was like, because it was pretty good. I was like, yeah, I'll rewatch this. Usually don't do that unless it's like an animation, but it was pretty cool. So I didn't realize that because so I don't want to like explain it, but like I so Osha and May technically like family dies, right? And May supposedly dies, but Osha survives and becomes a Jedi, and then like she was too old, so they were like, "Nah, goodbye," that's pretty messed up. Like how I know she
Well,
said it was
no,
her own
no,
like
May. They thought May died.
Osha. I sorry, I meant
Oh, Osha.
like Osha went to be a Jedi, but I was like, that's
No,
messed up. That what?
I thought she did get trained, but then she chose to leave, right? They didn't
Right,
deny
that's
her
what
from
I'm
being too
saying. She
old.
chose to
Oh yeah.
leave, but that's because there were so many people being like, I don't think she should be like a Jedi. Blah 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 blah
Oh,
blah.
I didn't get that impression at all. I
Well,
thought it
he
was.
said that Master Andara was like recommending to the council that she shouldn't be a Jedi.
Well, right, but I thought she chose to leave just because she wasn't in with the teachings. Like she wasn't vibing with it. I don't think she didn't choose. Like they originally advised against training her, but they trained her, and then she chose to leave just because she wasn't in with the philosophies and everything. That was the impression I got. I
That
didn't think
yeah,
she
the
left.
impression I got was because everyone is being jerky, and so
No, because
she
she
left.
she my impression was because she was friends with them. She got along with everyone, but her, it was just she didn't get with the philosophies, and that was it. That's my impression anyway.
Mine is that the Jedi suck as usual. And
Well, you're a
that's
little
why, but
biased
I
too.
don't think she has any, like, I think genuine she doesn't have any ill intent with anyone, but I think it might have just been too much and she just decided to leave. But I don't know. Well, I do not know, but that's what I thought. And so that was happening, but she leaves, which I thought was kind of messed up because I was like, that's messed up. Like, why can't you guys just train these babies that want to be Jedi and just whatever? It's okay.
But
Um,
they see this is where we disagree because they did train her. A few people were like she's a bit old and she's attached to her family, sort of like the concern with Anakin. But they did train her, and but she decided to leave because she was grieving and not vibing with the messages for her life personally.
right.
Was what
That's,
she said.
I mean, she didn't really say it. That's why I'm saying I think it was just everything.
But she never said there were people being mean. Soul said some people thought he shouldn't train her because she had that
Yeah, and
baggage.
Master Andara
But
too.
if
That's why.
yeah, but he
Well,
said
not
a
why she was
few.
killed, but
But he said a few people said that, but like not everyone. And he trained her, and it was fine. It was she was her. She said her main reason for leaving was grieving.
it's so long to grieve.
You
I
wouldn't
don't
grieve
know.
for 10 years if your whole family died in a fire. What?
Move on, kid. It's
Okay.
okay. No,
Wow.
I'm
Okay.
just kidding. But I don't know. I think it was that. I think just because, like, kind of like Is cat never left. Oh my god, I can't. I can't talk about it. It's cat, but which is like, you need to read the book, please. It's so good. I don't know. That's what I thought because I always think the Jedi are always mean. So I'm like, yeah, eventually people are just gonna leave. I'm sure it was because of that too, especially because she didn't keep up with her Jedi training at all. It seems like, or maybe she just wasn't that strong, but I doubt that.
Well, it's just why I feel like why like she felt like she couldn't she couldn't be a Jedi because she had her issues, and she was like, "This isn't for me." Was her main thing.
Yeah,
But
I
she
mean,
said she did
I
it for
don't know.
me, and so I don't know.
That's what people
Interesting.
always say. They always say that when it's not them. But I don't know. I don't know. I didn't make the show. That's just what I thought. And what's it called? Yeah. But I didn't know that from all that. I mean, this is I don't know cuz I watched it twice and I can't tell. So I need your help on this. But it seemed like Osha was pissed off at May. Like
Yeah, well, because it
his
sounds
soul
like
was like
it.
you're still seeking revenge and like you're still angry.
Yeah, because it sounds like, I mean, we don't know exactly what happened, but it sounds like they at least believe May caused the fire that killed her parents,
Mhm.
and
Yeah. And then
we just
I
don't know
think
exactly what happened, but it sounds like it was May that basically killed her parents, and that's
which
why
I
they got
think
upset.
is interesting because then May is blaming these four Jedi that did
Right.
it too. So
So the
I'm
mystery is
very
like what
curious.
happened that night. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
really curious to find out exactly what happened because they clearly because like Indara and Soul clearly feel bad, but May doesn't blame, no, Osha doesn't blame them.
Mhm.
Um, and uh, but then Torben felt so bad that he took the uh Akarash vow,
Yeah. And then
Bakarish vow.
at first I thought like when I first watched it, I thought that they all thought that she was Osha. And then I watched it again, and Torben is like, I've been waiting for you, May. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, well,
I
they
was
knew they knew they were twins.
Yeah,
They
but
just
that's the thing
didn't
is like
know.
I didn't realize that they knew. Like I guess I did cuz like Soul was like I couldn't save your sister, but I didn't know that they would think that she was alive and I thought they would just mistake her for Osha because everyone has been mistaking her for Osha. So I thought that's
Yeah.
what we were keeping like going, but like they knew she was May. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if they kind of can sense it. Those like Jedi that did
That
know.
too, probably.
Because
Yeah.
I think Indara thought she was Osha,
Yes.
possibly.
I don't Well, yeah, cuz she says like
Because
you,
yeah,
but
Indara didn't
also
say
that could
name.
be either.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I only noticed it the second time around because I had subtitles. Have subtitles in theaters, please. I beg. I can't understand things without them. But yeah. Um so then the next two Jedi she's going after is the Wookiee and Soul.
Yeah, Kalnaka
And she has
and
to fight them without or defeat them without a weapon.
yeah. It sounds like she was supposed to defeat Indara and Torben without weapons, but
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was that or if she needed to kill at least one with a weapon.
well, it
Or
sounds
without a
like
weapon.
she's kind of
All of them?
supposed to do all of them, but she's
Okay.
just gonna be like, as long as I do one, it's fine. Like it sounds like the her master wants her to do all of them, but she's like, I'll
Yeah,
just do
especially
one,
because
and
she's like, "Don't tell them. Don't tell
yeah,
them."
because she's much more focused on getting that revenge versus whatever purpose her master actually has.
Yeah, that's fair. Um, I like. I think his name is Kamir. Um,
Oh
the like,
yes,
yeah, I think it was funny. I didn't realize he was the guy from Good Place, and my dad mentioned
yeah.
it, and I was like, "Oh my god, I remember." But he was pretty funny. His hair is like throwing me off because I can't tell if there's a bun, but there's no bun. But his hair in the front's like it's like the opposite of a mullet. It's like long in
Hmm.
the front, short in the back, which looks
Yeah.
really cool. But it makes me think that he has a bun that like that's just his like not his bangs, but like just strands of hair. It's not. It's just short in the back. But I thought that was cool. Uh, also, I thought it was interesting because they said I think they said this or maybe I was just saying it, but it was they were like, "Oh yeah, your local Jedi temple." I was like, oh,
Hmm.
we're fancy here. We got local Jedi
Well,
temple."
they so in the High Republic that was like a common thing. Like all the like this in Young Jedi Adventures too. Like a lot of planets they'd have little satellite Jedi temples, and the Jedi would kind of be involved in the community.
Which is
Uh,
giving like police officer vibes.
I don't. It's not that. It's part. It's like in Fun to New. Like they're part of the community. They're there to help and protect. You have a very anti Jedi view, and I think that's and I have a very pro Jedi view, and I think that's coloring our perceptions of the show a
I
lot.
mean, local Jedi temple.
But
There to protect.
they're not enforcers. They're meant to help people. They're not walking around policing or like patrolling or arresting people or anything like that.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
there to
yeah.
help and be part of
I
the. It's
don't
like
think
a
they're textbook definition police
but
officers.
they're not
They're
at all
spread
police
it around.
officers. No, they're not. They're part of the community, and it's like having like a almost like a temple in a town, and like anyone can go and ask for help and things like that. But they keep it private, like at night and stuff when they're going to bed. But it's not like they're not enforcing law there at all.
I don't know. That's what it sounds like to me.
But they're not.
I don't know. That's just what it sounds like.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. I just know silly Star Wars and how it always has to connect. Well, I guess it doesn't always have to connect to something, but I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that they have these local temples, and they are like. To be fair, it's like Jedi related investigations, but they are investigating these crimes and stuff. which I
Well,
like mystery crimes.
yeah, but they're investigating this specifically this Jedi that was murdered, not like crimes that aren't involving them. Like it's
Yeah,
their
I
own
know.
person who got murdered. I
Yeah,
don't know.
who
The purpose
said
of the
that?
satellite temples were to be involved in like help teach Padawans and younglings about other cultures and like be involved in the community and be like a resource to help people. That's what they are.
Police.
They're not police.
Library. Local library. I don't know. But there was that. There was something else. Yord is silly.
Oh, love Yord. He kind of
I
sucks. That's
think
what
it
makes him
was Yord
amazing.
that made me really think of police because of the fact that like they went to go investigate OSHA, and this was the first episode, and like she went to like get Pip to charge him, and he immediately like went for his lightsaber, and I was like,
Hmm.
"Ooh, that's that."
Well, to
Oh,
be fair, he thought she murdered someone.
yeah. Well, they technically know that she murdered someone because, especially because he was not giving her any kind of doubt whatsoever. Which I was like, that's mean. You've like known these people for so long, like I guess like before you knew them for so
Hmm.
long, and like now, you're not even gonna try to be. At least Soul was like, huh, that's weird. Why would she do that? That's
Yeah,
weird. But Yord was just like, no, she did it. And it didn't help that the big chef guy was like, "Oh my god, it's her."
yeah. And I mean, like, to
So,
be fair, it's pretty stacked up evidence. Like, especially for
yeah.
Yord, I think it's like, they were friends, but it was like she made a choice to leave the Jedi, which is not a choice he probably understands because he's so devoted.
Mhm.
So he's like, well, if she could leave the Jedi, like, could she kill one too? You know what I mean? So I will defend Yor a little bit for that. Like, kind of sucky, but like, hey,
Oh
he
yeah.
did have a very good reason to believe she murdered a Jedi
Yeah,
that
it
she
gave
was
me like
also
a
that she
heart
was once
attack
close to.
though
OSHA
when
was
he did
close.
that. I was like,
OSHA was
"Ugh."
somewhat close to Indara, so it's like,
Mhm. Yeah. But he did that and I was like, "Ooh. Ew. Ew." And like poor Pip. Pip is so cool.
I love
Like
Pip. I
I
love
hope
Pip.
okay, here's the thing. I know they're going to make Pip like things and toys and stuff, but I really hope that they make him an actual like functioning multi-tool like little guy. That would be cool. Like you can like actually unscrew his head and it's like a bunch of screws or like anything like I think that would be really cool. I don't think they can put a fire extinguisher in him, but like simple stuff, little things that they can make out of him. That would be cool.
little little
Little
Pip
baby
tool.
ones. Um what's that? I don't remember her name. The one she's pretty cool. Orange makeup. Probably not makeup,
Oh,
but
Jackie. Jackie.
yeah, she's
I
cool. I like
love
her.
Jackie.
I was worried that I was gonna get annoyed with her, but I was like, nah, she's slay. She's cool. I also like that she's like Soul's like, yeah, Yord's coming with us, and she's like, Yord. She's like, again, I do not like Yord, but I think he's super funny
Oh, I
and
do love Yord
silly.
though. He's
I
so
don't. Well,
funny.
okay, I like him, but I don't like. If I had an actual favorite character, it would be May. Like
My favorite character
May
is definitely
or Soul.
Osha or Jackie, I think, or Soul. Soul's really. I love Soul. He's
I
amazing.
think
Um,
our favorites shows a lot about the contrast between us.
yeah. Um, oh my gosh, no, Jackie and Yord's dynamic too. So
Yord, put your clothes on. I love that so much. Um,
yeah.
Me and my dad went on the podcast with the Sith list, and we were gonna like we were trying to tag team like our profile pictures, and I forget what he was gonna. I think he was gonna put a picture of Kamir, and I was gonna put a picture of Yord without his shirt, and we were just gonna like be so cool. But then they couldn't even see our profiles, and I was like, ah, that's that sucks. But for for the crowd, that's what it was. That's what our profiles were for the Sith list. But yeah, um, trying to think. So, but in the end, Osha kind of lets her go. I mean, I don't think she missed on purpose or on accident. I mean, what do you think?
Um, I don't know if it was consciously. I think she believed she was aiming for May, but I think subconsciously she couldn't do it, and that's why she missed. I think she was a bit
Mm,
out of her mind, and I think that's what Soul was kind of talking about with her, like because she hasn't kept up with her practice of Jedi philosophies and training, she has let like these negative emotions and like this want for revenge to kind of cloud her mind, and she's unfocused, and that's what kind of holds her back when it comes to May.
yeah, that was that was interesting. But I'm really interested in May. I think I like troubled women. I think it's cool. And I was just yeah, I'm really interested on like what like who the because she doesn't even actually know who the person is. Like Soul tried to get it out of her, and she like the guy has been so secret. It's like obviously, but he's been so secretive that she doesn't even know. And then like who the heck is Kamir? Like my dad thinks that that's just the actual guy, which if it is, I think that's interesting because May is just kind of confessing that she hasn't been killing these Jedi. And then I think if she does kill one without a weapon, I think it's gonna be Soul. I think that uh, I think that's kind of like if it happens, I think it's gonna be Soul.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I think it's yeah, I think it's she's already killed two Jedi, so like I don't think in the next two episodes she's just gonna kill them both. So I wonder how they're like what they're gonna do. Like, are they just gonna keep chasing her and keep chasing her for the rest of the series, or like what's gonna happen? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what'll happen when we get to Kilnaka, because if she has these four Jedi she wants to kill, like we're gonna like, are we going to? Is she gonna kill a Jedi each episode, or like is she gonna kill Kanaka and then the rest of the show is about Soul? Like, what's the structure of the rest of the story gonna be? And I'm really excited. See, I also don't want Kilnaka to go because I like Kilnaka already. He's a Wookiee Jedi. And that's cool.
Bald,
I love Wookiee Jedi.
bald,
He's not bald.
bald.
Not
Not
bald.
bald. It's in a ponytail, but it looks bald. It's interesting looking. But yeah, so that'll be interesting. I think that's pretty much it without going into like what exactly happened. Um, but I enjoyed it very much. I like our different views. I'm just saying.
Yes, it's fun.
And I think, and I'll try to be more optimistic about the Jedi. I will
Yeah, I
try
mean, I
my
think the Jedi aren't perfect and they have flaws, but I think, and there are Jedi that are mean, but I think this show is showing some of those flaws, but I don't think this show is an indictment of them either. It's
Oh
just kind
yeah.
of showing when they start to lose their way. But it's like I don't know. I think while the Jedi Order had some flaws, I think people are too hard on them sometimes in fandom, and I just also think I think the Jedi philosophy is good, like the core Jedi philosophy is good, and I think that's reinforced throughout the series for all the movies, all the shows,
Hmm.
and I think that when you have characters that are following that, like Soul, you have that, and also I think we're starting to see. Because I think one thing where people are too hard on the Jedi is like the Jedi get put in really impossible situations
Yeah.
where they have to decide, between. I think like George Lucas talked about this with the Clone Wars a lot. Like the Jedi get put in a really hard place where it's like, sure, they can not fight in the Clone Wars and maintain the moral high ground, but then they're letting people die.
Hmm.
And it's like even though they don't want to be warriors, they're kind of forced into that if they want to actually do good in the galaxy. And I think it's stuff like that. I think that's what we're seeing the start of those kind of situations with the Jedi being put in, where they, want to be able to have the ability to help as many people as possible. But then that means like we have Vernester kind of worrying about like how things are going to look to certain
Yeah.
people, and like people can try to discredit them, and if they're discredited, they don't have the ability to help as many people anymore, and like those kind of things. I think the show's starting to start of that, but I'm really excited, and I think it does. Like you said, they're because the nature of the murder mysteries, they're kind of using a few of the like murder mystery, like cop procedural drama kind of lingo and stuff. But I think saying the Jedi are cops in this show um, is a bit unfair, and because they're not, they're investigating the murder of their own. They're not enforcing rules or unfairly,
I mean, they've
attacking
always
people like
kind
the.
of been like not cops, but they are supposed to be protectors. But it kind of, in my opinion, that's why I don't like them, is because it overlaps sometimes. But like you said, they are also just put into impossible situations like
Yeah,
that.
and I don't
So
think they're not. I don't think they're like cops in the way that like the Empire is.
yeah, and
Like.
that's the other thing, is like it wasn't until like the council started being like, oh, well, you know, the government says that we should do this, is
Mm,
when it starts getting a little funky. Like right
yeah.
now, I don't like. I think they're just like you said, they're just starting that, so it's like
Mm. But then it's
interesting.
also like I don't think that do the Jedi have the right to disobey the democratically elected government? Like, do they have the power above that? You know what I mean? And it's like
Mhm.
that's where it gets really tricky for them too.
Yeah,
It's like the same thing with like Ahsoka's trial. Like I don't think the Jedi handled that the best, but like there's a ton of evidence that Ahsoka did it, and it does not look good for her. And the
mhm.
options they had was let her have a public fair trial because she allegedly did kill members of the public, or keep it to an internal trial. And like, how does that look? Is that fair to the families of the people she killed allegedly and stuff like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that's where I think they get put in a lot of impossible situations. But ultimately, the Jedi are always trying to do good.
yeah, and
And
it's interesting because it's a lot like this right now. Like, there's a lot of evidence of OSHA being the one that did these crimes, but also like she totally did it. And I think it's interesting now. They're like, um with Soul, like he's like, hey, we know where May is, like let's go, and she's like, no, 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 we have to talk it through, we have to make sure we know what we're doing and we're handling and like
mm-hmm,
where she's going, uh like we don't do things irrationally. I thought that
mm-hmm,
was very interesting that Soul was so eager to want to go to immediately to May, which
mm-hmm.
obviously I would be too. I'd be like, I know,
Yeah,
we know where she's going. Let's go.
yeah, and
But
that's what's so interesting because I think like both sides of that are fair. Like Soul is really like wants to jump at this opportunity, where you have Vernestra who understands that, but is also like, well, let's take a minute and like,
mhm,
we need to figure this out. We need to see if we need more people in this, and you totally understand both sides of it. And
yeah,
I think what's really interesting about the show is it shows some of the ways that the Jedi are starting to lose touch, while also being compassionate to that and understanding that the Jedi are good and they're trying their best.
mhm.
And they're just put in these really tough situations a lot of the time.
See, yeah, it's hard out here. But there was something else that not that I needed to say, but there was something else, and it was something about the Jedi. I don't remember. Now I'm sad. Um, yeah, thought it was a very good show, and with these certain things. Um, oh, I think it was just Yord. I think it was literally just him grabbing his lightsaber that I was like, "Oh, hey, hey, what are
Yeah.
you doing?"
To be fair, again, he did think
I
he
understand.
had
I
reasonable.
very understand. I was just like, "Oh gosh, yikes!" But yeah, I don't know.
Oh, Yord,
That
he's
was
so
interesting.
silly.
Yord is silly, but oh, that's what I was gonna say. But Yord eventually, because I thought he was just gonna be sour the entire show, and he wasn't gonna be my favorite if he was. But later, like when she goes, she finds Torb. What's his name?
Torben.
Torben. I keep wanting to say Torbjorn. Torben. he like, because she goes and she finds Torben dead, uh, and they're like, "You did it! Like what? Like you need to explain yourself." And then he comes out and he's like, "She didn't do it. I literally watched and followed her. She didn't do it."
Hmm.
That's when I was like, "Okay, Yord, you can be my favorite. It's okay."
Yeah, and that was yeah.
Because
And
again,
I'm
if he
glad
didn't
he
do that, I
did
would have been like,
because
"Ew, gross."
well, I am glad he followed her. I think part out of suspicion and part out of like I don't know. I like to think that because they are friends and he realized now like oh it would have been impossible for her to do that murder.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think part suspicion and part of like let me just make sure she's okay kind of thing.
I feel
Um,
like I would have followed too, just because, like, technically, oh, that's the other thing is, like, technically she's a prisoner, not really.
yeah,
So,
and
like,
they're also like all in danger. They should probably do pairs, not wander off by themselves. Um, but yeah, good on Yord for vouching for her there because that would have looked
yeah.
really bad for her.
Again, yeah.
Like when that first happened, and before Yord like revealed himself, I was like, oh no, like they just cleared you for the first murder, and now you're like basically caught red-handed for this other one. And Yord's
Hmm.
like, nah, it's chill, she's fine, she's cool.
She's cool. She's with me. But,
Good on
yeah.
Yord for that one.
Yeah. Pretty good. But, or like the other part where they're like, okay, how do we confront Kamir? And he's like, okay, so basically, we go in right now. I force this confession from him. And then, boom, done. And then, God, what's her name? Orange
Jackie,
lady. Jackie. And Jackie's like, or skip all of that. She talks to him, and then we get an easier confession. Boom.
I know,
I
and
love their
Soul's like
dynamic so much. It is so fun.
Jackie and Yord are really fun. I really do. I hope we get to see a bit more of Soul and Jackie because they have pretty right away. We see like this interesting, almost like Qui Gon and Obi Wan esque Padawan dynamic where Jackie's still young and still very like by the book with the rules she learned growing up, and Soul is kind of teaching her like the actual Jedi way and being a bit more spiritual than dogmatic.
Yeah.
That because
Oh, that's
kids are very black and white, so she learns these rules growing up, and she's like, oh, these are the rules, and Soul is like, yes, those are the rules, but like, this is he has the life experience of a Jedi to offer her, which is cool of him.
yeah. I
Uh,
think that's what that I forgot. It was just that, like, that part where he's looking at a picture of Osha, and she's like, "Sir, why do you look at pictures that invokes, like, this, and it's this, it's against this?" And he's like, "Well, but also to know your past and know the past is to avoid it in the future. Like, avoid,
mm-hmm.
like, doing it again and, like, not learning from it." And she was like, "Ah, you right." So, yeah, like you said, I think that was, like, really, really cool. And I think he is giving very Qui-Gon-y vibes. I
Yeah.
also at first was worried. I like this. I don't think it's even a thing anymore, or like ever probably was a thing. But I was worried for a second that Jackie was gonna be jealous of um of Osha, like, because she was like the first one, and like he is looking at pictures of her and like wants to like really really help this girl. I don't know. I don't think that's a thing, like, or again ever was a thing, but I was like, I thought it was interesting because I was like, oh, I wonder if there's gonna be something there. But
Yeah.
no, they're pretty
I do.
cool. They're chill.
I do because I love the Soul and Osha dynamic. I think it's super sweet, and it's nice to see like even though she made the choice for herself to leave the Jedi Order, there's still like she has no hard feelings towards the Jedi. He has no hard feelings towards her. Like no one has hard feelings towards her. It's still very amicable, and I love that dynamic that they have and how he believes her no matter what. And I think that's really sweet. But I do hope to see a little bit more of that Soul and Jackie
Mhm.
relationship as well. I think that's super interesting too.
Yeah, I liked when she had like her tattoo out and he was like, "What's that?" And she's like, "Oh, I got it in Space Vegas. Sorry. You hate it." And he was like, "Doesn't matter what I think."
It's so cute,
Yeah, that
and
was
it is really funny too because like there are a lot of Jedi with tattoos. So it's like that one. I sense that one has tomfoolery attached to it.
Silliness was involved here.
It's so funny. I also did like we only got a little bit of it, but I did like a little bit of the Osha and Jackie dynamic too. Like it's very playful, and I do love all these character dynamics so much. Um, I'd love to see some Osha and Yord, more Osha and Yord too, because I love Jedi that grow up together and have shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
So that's super cool. And I'm really excited for all these relationships to develop to figure out what the heck happened on that night where May and Osha's parents died and um, figure out like I don't know because like May blames the Jedi, Osha blames May, the Jedi blame themselves, but also May. So it's like, what happened?
Yeah, it must have been bad, or at least it has to be like I don't. Yeah, I have no idea. It's
I know a lot of people
very
are jumping to
interesting.
like, oh, the Jedi showed up and killed everyone. Like that's not. It is boring. B, it's not what
Yeah.
Jedi would do at all. You know, that's not something. And I know some people like to not like the Jedi, but they are good people. Like for the most part, like
Okay, I'm just saying I'm not that
I'm
extreme.
not
I
blaming
think it
you.
was
I'm not
something
saying
to
you.
do with like an accident. Something
Oh, no,
happened.
no, I know. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying there's
Okay,
all
I was like, I'm not that
no, no,
bad.
no, not you, not you. No, but I know there are a lot of people like, oh, Jedi all suck. They just like don't care. I'm like, no, Jedi care.
Yeah,
Jedi
they do care. Some of them are
don't
good.
show up to murder people. Like, like when Jedi do bad stuff, it's like notable. Like Pong Krell or Anakin. Like that's
Yeah,
like a thing. The average Jedi isn't like, I'm bored, I'm gonna kill a Jedi. Like that's Empire shit.
yeah,
But like, so I don't think it's that simple. But like, did the Jedi make a mistake that they then covered up? Did May do anything that was her fault, or did May, was it an accident? Like, what happened? Especially we know like young force sensitive children, like when they're not trained and when they have big emotions, that can be very dangerous. So if May, is also force sensitive, May and Osha are both force sensitive, and there was maybe May had like a big emotional reaction to something, and that caused something, but it's not her fault specifically. Like oh, May did something wrong on purpose. So I'm really curious to figure out what's going on there.
yeah.
So
But yeah, very interested. I think that's all I have for
yeah,
that.
I'm so excited for the rest of the show. I'm loving it. Um, and yeah, I guess we'll talk a little about because on the same day that Acolyte came out, a new game came out called Hunters, available on Switch and mobile, and that's it. I think. Yes.
Yes, I
Um,
was really hoping that it was gonna be on PC because
yeah, I was hoping like an Xbox, but it runs great on my Switch, and I enjoy it very very much. I haven't tried it on mobile yet, but I don't know. Have you played it at all?
no, I've been not. I haven't even played Fortnite recently.
Oh
Like I
no.
just I downloaded it on my Switch and then I haven't like I've been out of the house and then I haven't touched it and then I want to get into it. The problem is I'm so bored of like what's it called? Having to learn how to play a game makes me want to just like skip it. I'll just learn. I'll just learn while dying on the battlefield. But but just saying, then that means it would be you, me, dad, and then Axel.
Which is great because they're 4-player teams.
Exactly. Um
I will say too, the tutorial isn't like too bad. Like there's a little tutorial to
okay.
get you the controls, and then the rest of it is just like putting you in games
Yeah.
to like
And
learn.
then that was the other thing is like I haven't played Overwatch in a while and I think I'm
Mhm.
starting to stop play Overwatch and just because I get so frustrated because I'm like, I don't have a team anymore to play with. So I'm like, ugh, like I have to, it's so frustrating. But, and I was like, oh, Hunters is basically Overwatch. And then I was watching my dad play and I was like, it's just Overwatch. And then I was like, oh, well, I think the only times I will play is like when you and my dad and Axel are going to play. So then
I
it's
do think,
perfect.
yeah, I do think it's a lot more. I would say it's much slower paced Overwatch. I'd say it's like a halfway point between Overwatch and like Battlefront as far as like pacing and stuff goes.
Mm,
But I was playing a little bit. I only started playing it like yesterday. Like got really into it, but it's really fun. It's a nice little like the matches aren't very. That's the other thing. Like, and I love Overwatch. I do still play Overwatch, but like, Overwatch matches can be really long. So far,
yeah, it's
like,
literally called Quick Play and it's like a 30-minute game.
but like so far, all of my matches on Hunters have been pretty quick. And it's fun and yeah. So it's like in the gameplay is not as fast paced, but the games themselves are shorter. Uh,
Nice.
and I enjoy the characters. So I haven't unlocked them all yet. But I've enjoyed the characters so far. They're really cute, really like dynamic and fun. And they all like their own little like songs and title card things. It's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they're super cool. And I like uh, there's like and it has like a cosmetics shop obviously because it's a free game. But it has like a lot of cosmetics you can just get from playing the game too. Like each character has like cosmetics and like as you level up the character you automatically get those, which is pretty
Okay.
cool. Like it's not like you have to spend money. Although honestly I also like all the default looks for the characters so much. I'm like, I don't know if I even
Need it.
want
Yeah.
to use, the alternates. But they're pretty cool
Nice.
and yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. It's super fun. I haven't unlocked Utuni yet, but I know as soon as I do, that's going to be my main because
Mm-hmm.
it has to be. But so far, I'm really enjoying playing Imara Vex and Arental. So that's the Bounty Hunter and the Mandalorian. I really enjoyed playing them so far, but I've only unlocked a couple characters in there. It's a fun time. I recommend Hunters for anyone, especially like because you can get it on mobile. So like you're just like in line somewhere, you can just play it. You don't
Yeah.
need to set up your whole console and everything, which is cool.
Nice. Hopefully, not too many sweats.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't noticed anything. I'm
Nice.
just playing. It's also less than a week old at this point.
You never know. Them streamers.
This is true. This is true. But yeah, Hunters is fun. Uh, it has a lot of character to it, which I appreciate. Like it could have easily been more generic, but like you have like fun little announcer guys and like it's very colorful and like I feel like the characters are creative and you can be two Jawas stacked on top of each other, which like what else do you want in life? Personally, that's all I want.
Uh huh. Uh huh. Fair enough.
Um and yeah, it's a good time. So yeah, like Hunters. Everyone should play Hunters. It's very fun.
Hunter, 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 hunters.
Um so yes, that's all I have. There's also I'm not gonna get it, I don't think. But there's a skin for the droid Jedi where you can make him look like a big like Ewok kind of, and it's so silly. And also the battle pass has robes for the Jawas that are pink, and that's a great
Ooh.
time too. There's
Pink.
also like a little outfit for the Jawas where it's like the bottom one is wearing like these like greenish robes, and the top one is wearing like white robes with a little pauldron. It's supposed to look like a sand trooper on a dewback. It's very silly. Very
Nice.
silly, silly game.
Very cool. I will get around to it once I have time to play games. But yeah.
All right. Well, I think that was a podcast. So You can go to our website for like writing and stuff like that on starwarsgeekgirl.com. We're on Twitter and Instagram at SWGeekGirl, and we're on Facebook as Star Wars Geek Girl.
Yeah. And then the Rogue Rebels got the roguerebels.com, Instagram and TikTok at the Rogue Rebels, Twitch at Rogue Rebels, podcast wherever you're listening to Star Wars Geek Girl, Facebook page The Rogue Rebels, and Twitter at Rogue Rebels Fam.
If you want to follow me personally, also I'm on Instagram and TikTok as Spectre_5, 5 written out, not the number, and then Twitter is at Zoeka.
Yippee!
Yippee!
Yippee! Yippee!
All right. Well, thank you for listening to Star Wars Geek Girl. I was Zoe.
I was Lizzy.
May the force be with you.
I was waiting for you to say it, and then I was like waiting, and then I was like, wait a second.
May the force be with you, and goodbye.
Goodbye.